My mom had been sick for a week. I get a phone call from my sister, and it's 12 a.m. at school. So it's literally midnight. I get a phone call. I answer the call. I hear my sister is crying. I'm like, what's going on? Like, why are you crying? I have two older sisters, and this is the oldest sister. So she's like, I'm sorry to tell you this, but mom is dead. I fainted on the, I remember I fainted on the road.
Beautiful people, welcome to another episode of Beyond the Finish Line with Star, where athleticism meets inspiration, a safe space where athletes comes to share their untold stories, humble beginning, setbacks, and how they overcame, diving into intersections of sport, lifestyle, and personal growth. And I am your host, Star Mpama. Today, we have a special one in the studio. They are always special. He is a student athlete, an Olympian, and an NCAA champion. He is none other but Makanakaishe Charamba, the pride of Zimbabwe.
Hey, Star.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Well, the champion is chilling.
Can you hear me?
How's your weekend going?
My weekend is good. How was your weekend?
Amazing. Amazing. So without wasting much of anybody's time, let's dive into the untold stories.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a tradition here on Beyond the Finish Line with Star. I do my introduction of my guest, but I like my guests to also introduce themselves. I mean,
Yes.
you are who you say you are. So please, can the viewers know you?
So, my name is Makanakaishe Charamba, but people call me Maka, obviously, because my name is British. And not everyone can pronounce it.
Well, I tried.
Yeah. I was born and raised in Zimbabwe, and I came to the US in like 2021. Yeah, I'm a 200-meter sprinter. Well,
Amazing.
next year I'll be running the 100 too, but yeah, I'll just say I'm a sprinter.
Well, we're looking forward to that.
Yes, ma'am.
So I have a lot of questions to ask you.
Yes, ma'am.
But before I dive into that, usually I would have wanted to know how your journey all started. But there was an article I saw on your highlights on your Instagram
Yes, ma'am.
page that says, it all started with being chased for stealing sugar.
Sugar.
That's really interesting. I want to know, or we want to hear the entire story behind that.
Okay, I got you. So, you know, when you're a kid, you obviously have a sweet tooth, and you'll be liking things, sweets, sugar, all the sweet things you can think of. So,
Okay.
I love sugar when I was a kid. So one day, like every day, I used to always do sugar. Like I would climb the kitchen counter, open the cupboard, and take sugar. And I'm 3, by the way. I'm small. I'm 3. Once I fall, it's over. Like I'll probably collapse, die, whatever you can think of. So so we had a house lady. We used to work in our house. Her name was Eukarya. So she always used to like warn me, like, don't do that, don't do that. Then she ended up telling my mom every day, like for like a whole week. Then my mom was just warning me. Then one of the 8th day, my dad was there. And I stole sugar, and my mom was fed up. Then she told my dad that this guy's stealing sugar. My dad left the house with a belt. So back home, parents are allowed to spank kids. He came out with a belt. And then the first thing that came in my mind was just run away. Because I didn't want to get beaten up. No one else getting beat up. So I ran around the whole house.
Run away.
And they couldn't catch me. So like, when he came back into the house, like I ran outside the house. Then when he came back into the house without me, my mom was like, did you catch him? Then he said, no, I didn't. And he was mad. So instead of my mom not getting mad, she started laughing. So like, that's literally where the whole thing started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear more. So apparently your dad chased you
That Jason.
for stealing sugar.
Yes.
So what happened next?
So I tried, like, when I got into like first grade, I tried to do a track, but I wasn't that good enough, I guess. Well, I wasn't mature enough to do the sport. So like, I was just getting beaten every day, beaten. And I left the sport to the side. I stopped doing sports from like 1st grade until like 4th grade. I came back to the sport. I tried again, and I finished like 4th. So I just made the school relay team for like under 11s. I was running first leg. Then I tried that, and yeah, I wasn't enjoying it. Then 5th grade, I started playing hockey. So I was playing hockey the whole 5th grade to like 7th grade. Then that's when like I started growing bigger, and one of my friends just was like, please come try rugby. So I started playing rugby in 7th grade. Then 7th grade, going into high school, like from 8th grade up to 10th grade, I was just playing rugby. Then I got identified by a club back home called Bar Academy. Then they introduced me to another school, which was a top private school back home. Then that's when I went to that school, and I just continued playing rugby. Then I remember, like, we're in spring, so back home, off season is spring. Then so our spring starts from January up to April. Then from May to August, it's winter. So we're doing off season training in the spring, and the rugby coach, like, we're doing fitness tests one of the days, and I was put in a group with one of the fastest guys on the team, and I ran into the line. Then the coach called me to the side and he's like, "Would you think you'd want to do track?" I was like, no, never. Then he said, "I believe you have the talent." And I was like, "Well, I understand what you're saying, but track and field is never going to be a thing for me." Then he's like, "Okay, I'm going to go talk to the track coach and you're going to go give it a try. Like it or not, you're still going to give it a try." I was like, "No, please don't." He said, "No, I'm going to do that." So he went, he talked to the coach. Then the coach came to me. It was only on Saturday. At Monday, the coach came to me and said, "I want to see you at practice." And I was like, "Yeah, he's butchering." I didn't show up the whole week. Then the following week, it was like school trials. And the rugby coach, I was in class. I didn't want to go for the trials. Then the rugby coach sent a kid to call me. And the kid was like, "You're being called." I was like, "For what?" Then he's like, "You just said go call him." So I show up to the field. I was wearing sneakers in a sports kit, in a tracksuit. Then he's like, "Well, you didn't practice, so now you have no choice but to go to the line." So he just told me to take off my shoes, no spikes, nothing. He told me to take off my shoes and my tracksuit and just wear my sports kit and go run. So I get to the line. We're eight people, 7 guys with spikes. I don't have spikes, and we're running on a grass track. Like, we don't have like those. We don't have a proper track back home. We only have 2 or 3 stadiums. So in high school, like, we'd run on the grass. So I got to the line, beat everyone, and yeah, that's how I'll probably say the journey started.
Wow. After you won that particular race, did you join the track team and did you leave rugby?
No, I didn't.
Or okay,
I didn't leave it. I didn't leave the rugby team. So I stayed. Okay, I stayed in the team, but I was not doing both rugby and track. So like that whole rest of the spring, like I ran inter-schools. I won inter-schools. So like it's like stages. So you start with inter-schools, then you get to district, then provincials, which are states, then nationals. So like inter-schools I won, districts I won, then I lost at state. I was like third in the 100 and second in the 200 meters. So I went to nationals on relays. So I was running the 4x1 and the 4x2. And our relay was like 4th and 5th in the 4x1 and 4x2. So we didn't even make it to the international stages. And the funny part is my counterpart, the guy I ran the Olympics with, he was there that year, and he's the one who won the 200 meters. I was watching Tappy in the stands. That's the funny thing.
Oh my God.
The stands. And I was like, damn, this guy's fast.
Wait, you mean Tappy was there?
Tappy was there, those nationals. And I was watching him in the stands, but we didn't know each other then, because I was too new in the sport. And Tappy was like there.
Oh my. Okay, let me ask you. So as of then, were there dreams of making it to the US, the Olympics, or you were just, fulfilling the assignments that your coach asked you to carry out?
So when we went to nationals, I was just fulfilling the assignment. And then after nationals, we get back to school. As we're getting off the bus, the track coach put me to the side and he said, "I feel like you can be a great track athlete if you listen to me, if you trust me and listen to me." Because the following was 2018, and 2018 was like Youth Olympics. So it's like, if you listen to me, you can be a great athlete. So I need you to do me a favor. When you get to fall, off-season, please come and do off-season training with me. Then we'll see what happens in the spring. If you run well, you can decide to stay. If you don't run well, I won't hold you back. Then I was like, oh, okay. Then he said, you can go back to rugby and you can play all the rugby season. And then after rugby season, you can come back, because rugby was the following semester. So I went back to rugby. I made the national team. We went to South Africa for like a World Series. Then I played that World Series. It was called Craven Week then. Then I played Craven Week. Then I played well, but I had offers to go to South Africa for rugby, but my parents were like, no, we're not doing that. Then then I came back. Then I did my off season. Then 2018, I think that was like the breakout year for me in high school.
Okay. While all of this was going on, was your parents in support, or they were being the typical African parents that we know?
my mom was in support. My mom was actually there because she used to work at United Nations. So she knew sports. But my dad was a typical African parent. Dad was definitely a typical African parent. He was like,
apparently that was why he was chasing you for the sugar.
yes. He was being a typical African parent. Is like, are these sports gonna pay you? Are these sports gonna make you pass school? Like, you know how African parents are with school.
Yeah, I know. It's
I
like,
was just looking.
you better leave that thing you're doing and go to school. For them, anything that is not school, you're on your own.
Yeah. So like we did all that, and then I did my breakout year in 2018. Then when it came time for like African Youth Championships and Youth Olympics, I had exams, so I couldn't go for the meets. So my parents were like, my mom was like, well, you can't go for the meet. It's okay. Just do your exams. Then we'll probably see what happens in the future. So we didn't know what was going to happen in the future. So I did my exams and I passed my exams. So back home, when you're like we go up to 13th grade. When you get to 11th grade, there's an exam you write. The exams you write called IGCSE. So if you pass those exams, you progress. If you don't pass those exams, you have to stay in that year. You'll be stuck in that year basically. So I wrote those exams and I passed them. Then I progressed to the next stage. But so you write them in November and results come out in January, like mid-January. Then you can only start school in February. So that whole period I wasn't training, nothing. I was just chilling at home, just playing rugby basically. Yeah. So when we finished those exams, like I stayed home, then I passed, then I came back to school. So now I came back in track season, in the middle of track season. Like it was a week away from inter-schools. Then I was like, I don't want to run. Then the coach was like, well, I think you have something in you. Since you claim you're playing rugby, I was like, I don't think I have anything. Then he was like, just give it a try. I went.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Let me not miss it.
Yes.
After that conversation you had with him,
Yes.
I mean, that was after the trials, and he was like, okay, please train with me during like when the off season.
Yes.
Did you later go back to train with him? Did you?
No, I didn't. I was at home.
Oh,
I was at home.
You
that whole
didn't.
period. Yeah.
You actually didn't like track.
What
was it about rugby? No. What was it about rugby for you?
So
Surprise. No, I want to know.
So back in those days, you see how football is like here. That's how rugby was like back home, back in those days.
Okay.
So, and it was like, I was in an A school, so rugby was like the top sport. Like everybody, if you want to be famous, you have to play rugby, regardless.
The money.
Yeah, the money, yeah, everything. Okay, Zimbabwe was like a third world country when it comes to like financial situations and stuff, but rugby had good money.
Okay.
That was the thing in high school. So I was like, yeah, like, I might do this. And I was on a scholarship for that also. So that was literally like one of the main things too.
Oh, okay. So you were on rugby scholarship while you were in high school?
Yes. But then it was a small school that you had to play more than one sport. It was a small school.
Wow.
No, but not it's not like these big schools these big public American high schools where everybody can fill a sport. It was a small school. So like you'd find one student playing like 3-4 sports. So, so like, track, I ended up getting like a good scholarship. Like it ended up getting increased because of track also, but rugby was like the primary thing.
Okay, so continue.
So I went back to school for my A levels. Then I get to school and I'm like, I'm not even in shape. Then he's like, well, just come give it a try. So I ran. Then I made it. I actually made it up to nationals again. Then I finished I think I was second in the 200 and third in the 100 at nationals. Then I had qualified for the team to go to African like junior championships. And then same thing happened. They clashed with the exams. So I couldn't go again. So I didn't go. Then I just went back to rugby, and I went back and I did my season and I made the national team again, and I just did everything that I did the other year. Then now we get to COVID. This is the interesting part. We get to COVID.
Okay.
COVID. So I like my childhood friend who was playing soccer, but then he was like, bro, I need to start doing these applications. He was a year ahead of me in school. So he was like, I need to start doing my applications to go to the US because I feel like the US is better for me. And I was like, okay, cool. Then I just went and I told my mom the story, and my mom was like, well, you're supposed to be doing that too. Like, why are you sleeping on work? And I was like, my bad, miss.
Mother.
So I was like, okay. Then she was like, then the next day, like, I didn't know she took it to heart, what I told her.
Okay.
She was like, the next day she calls me to the dining table. And we had COVID. We had broken for COVID. So I was supposed to do my last year of high school, but there was exams that I wrote in my 12th grade. So these exams are like, is equivalent as SATs here. So if you pass those exams, you don't even need to. If you pass those exams and if you're planning to come to the US, you don't even need to continue with school. You can just drop out that last year of school and come to the US.
Okay.
I didn't know about that then. So my mom was like, well, I sat down and I did the research and I was looking at countries you could go to, and I found out that in the US, with your grades, you're actually good enough to go to the US. I was like, okay. Then she's like, I don't think you should continue high school. It was in COVID, by the way, so there are chances that people would go back or they wouldn't. So there's still kind of around everything. She had to make a decision to say,
your own mother.
you're not going back to school.
A typical African mother said she doesn't think you need to continue high school so you can move over to the United States.
Yes.
What was your dad's reaction?
I mean, my dad wasn't happy then, but he ended up just saying, well, you're about to grow up, you're about to get in those ages where you can make your own personal decisions. So I'm not gonna hold you back. I'll just wish you all the best and see what happens. Okay.
Let's get it clear. While your mom was saying what she was saying, you still had rugby in mind, not track.
Still had rugby in mind. Yeah,
not track.
Not track. So now we then sit down and she was like, what do you want to do with your life in the future? I'm like, I want to play professional rugby. Because that 2019 year when I went to South Africa for rugby, I had gotten like a couple professional club offers. So I thought I was going to go to South Africa to play professional rugby. But then my mom was like, wow, I understand that you love rugby and you're a good rugby player and you have these offers, but I don't think rugby is your thing. And the funny part is my rugby coach had told me that same conversation the year before to say, I believe you're a good rugby player and you can go far, but I feel like track and field is your main thing. I'm looking at these guys, I'm like, guys, what are you seeing that I'm not seeing? Like, what are you seeing?
Are they seeing that?
That I'm not seeing. Yeah. Then I was like, I don't believe it. Then she was like, okay, go take a paper and a pen, go take all your medals that are in my room, and we're gonna do like an achievement check. If I win this achievement check, you drop in rugby. If you win, I'm not gonna tell you anything about track again. I don't know how confident she was. So
your mom must be an interesting woman. Yes. She must be. Yes. Kudos to her. Kudos to her.
I do the day I give her kudos though. So when I took my medals, I took a pen and a paper. We did the weighings and the result came out as, I even remember the numbers. That's how crazy it was. Rugby had 20 points. Track and field at 70 points. So when she told me that, I was mad, but then I was like, I have to listen to her. She's an old lady. Like, I have to respect the elderly. You know what they say, respect.
No, what an old man says sitting. No matter how much you climb, bro.
Yes.
You're still young.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'll just do it. Then she's like, I was mad. I didn't like the decision, but I was just like, I mean, maybe she has a plan for me. I don't know. I'll just listen to her. So I then started texting like all the coaches that were all the like rugby clubs that were trying to get me to say, yeah, I'm no more playing rugby. I have to stop rugby and do track. The coaches weren't happy. And some of them even tried to convince me to come back. And they even called my mom, but my mom was like, we have already made a decision, so there's no need. So now in COVID. And then I didn't know my mom had already done the researches and everything. So my mom once posted a video of me running on WhatsApp. Then I have a cousin who stays in Charlotte, North Carolina. So he then reached out. He commented on my mom's status. Is like, please send me videos of this kid running. I want to reach out to coaches and see if any coach would be interested in them. So my coach, Coach Ken Honden, his mom.
This is becoming more interesting.
Yes, it's actually about interesting. So my coach, his mom, told my cousin who's in North Carolina in 3rd grade in 1995. So he was like, my mom sent him all the videos. Then he knew Coach Ken because Coach Ken was like, he's like a legend back home. So he then texted, he went on the school roster. He was at Tennessee. He went on the school roster. He copied his email and just emailed him to say, you don't know me, but I know you because your mom taught me in 3rd grade. My cousin is running track in Zimbabwe. And he's...
Hold on. Yes. Wait. Coach Ken.
Yes. Coach Ken.
Is he from Zimbabwe?
Yes. He ran in the 90s and 2000 Olympics.
You're kidding me.
I'm serious. Like, he's actually from Zimbabwe.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And wait, so his mom taught your cousin.
Yes, in third grade in 96, 95.
Coach Ken's mom
Coach Ken's
taught your cousin.
Yes. Exactly.
What a small world. Please continue.
So he reached out to him, and then Coach Ken saw my videos, and then he was like, I want to. So he reached out back and he's like, I'm interested in this kid, but he doesn't have like the good times to come D1, so we can probably figure something out. Then we're just like, okay, then I think we hit like 4 months and he didn't reach out or anything. So I was like, I might have to put to a plan B. So I started applying to like JUCO schools. So I remember I applied to Butler.
Butler?
Butler, Cloud County in South Plains. So Butler in South Plains didn't get back to me. So Cloud County.
Anyways, that's my alma mater.
Yeah, your alma mater didn't get back. So Cloud County got back to me.
Okay.
They wanted to give me a place, but they were not going to give me a scholarship. So I was basically going to be paying like 10K. Then after 4 months, Coach Ken introduced me to like one of the guys who he used to coach, who was from Zimbabwe also. He ran in the 2008 Olympics and he was fourth. He was fourth when Usain Bolt broke his first world record in 2008. He was fourth in that race. So he reached out to me and he said, hey, my name is Brian Zingai. He reached out to my mom to say, my name is Brian Zingai. I was introduced to you by Coach Ken and I'd be interested in helping your son come to the US. So at the time, I was looking at that message and I'm like, I somehow don't believe this. Then I went to research and I found out it was true, but I had already done commitments at Cloud County. So now I had to end my commitment at Cloud County. But then I didn't know what was the plan also. So he was like, please try. He was like, we can take him to a D2 school in Tennessee named Carson Newman.
And that's Carson Newman. The one in Tennessee.
One in Tennessee, yes. And they say if he runs all those first 2 years, then he can transfer to go D1 and wherever Coach Ken is going to go. If he doesn't run well, he might have to get stuck his all 4 years.
Oh my God.
So in my mind, I'm like, D2. I honestly wanted to go D1 from the get-go. So I'm like, D2. Yeah.
But take a break first. Take a break. For you to even know D2 and D1 as at then, which simply means you had already grown interest into the track and field itself.
Yeah, now I was getting interested now because I was like, I actually went to research and I was like, the US. Then my mom had also worked at like United Nations, so she always used to travel to the US. She's been to Texas, all those states. So now she was telling me like how the US is like, I want to go there.
Okay, continue.
Then I was like, okay, I don't know. Like, I told him I was talking to Cloud County and they're about to get me. Then he was like, how much are you paying? Then I told him how much. He's like, bro, the school I'm trying to get you to Carson Newman, you're not going to even pay a dime. So I don't know why you're trying to go there. Then I was like, I don't believe it. Like, you know how if a person is telling you with the mouth, you're obviously not bound to.
What are you even saying? Yeah. Especially when you're from Africa. It's like they want to scam you.
Yes. That's literally what was in my head. Then I was like, I'll think about it. Then that COVID, then he was just like, okay, in the meantime, what is you thinking? Let me introduce you to a track coach from back home who has a track club. His name was Coach David. So he introduced me to the club. And then this was like when COVID was starting to ease down back home. So like I actually made a lot of sacrifices in that period when I was still trying to figure things out. I was like,
wow.
So like the visa offices were closed. I couldn't even start my visa application. So I was just training, waiting for that at that club. Practice would start at 8.
Okay.
And at 8 o'clock, like on a work day, everybody starts work at 8. A lot of people like getting for a lot of people to get to work in the city center from my place, it was like an hour, 45 to an hour drive on a public bus. And public buses are the cheapest thing. So for you to get to work, a lot of people buses would be congested at 6. So the only way I had to get to practice at 8 a.m. is if I get on a bus at like 5:45 a.m. Because if I try to get on the bus after 6, I'm not going to get on it because the lines will be long and they're going to be packed. So I was waking up at 5:45, asked my mom for $1 because it was 50 cents to go and 50 cents back. Prepare my own food, pack my bag, then I'll leave at 5:45. I'll just wake my mom up to say, Mom, goodbye, I'll see you later. go to the bus stop, get on the bus, go to practice. I'll get to practice at like 7, an hour before, and I'll just chill. The first days I was mad because I was like, Mom, why am I getting to practice at 7 when practice starts at 8? Then she was like, it's better to be early than to be late in reality. And she was like, let's say we'll go to like a business conference. If you show up early, it'll be better than if you show up late, because the boss will just be like, you don't know what you're ready for.
Your mom is a hero.
She is. Like, she was actually the main hero behind those stories. I was doing that. Then randomly, this Brian Zinga dude texts me again. He's like, did you not figure out how things are? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to go to this school. Then he's like, bro.
Okay.
He's like, I'm not going to give up on you. You're not going to that school. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you're not going to go to that school. So that following year, 2021, that's when like COVID had completely eased. Like people didn't think of COVID. The December before that, I went to South Africa for camp. Like when I joined that club, like the coach said I was good enough. Then he added me to like the national squad. So like the national squad, the Zimbabwean squad, the 4x1 squad went to South Africa for a camp. Then we were in South Africa camping. And while I was in camp, then that was December 2020. So I had the whole December in South Africa and half of January. I went back home. Then I think in February, I went to Zambia and I ran 21-1. Back in those days, 21-1 was pretty fast. Like it wasn't obvious the D1 elite. Like but I could go to like a low D1 school. So that after I ran 21-1, it was like, well done, you ran 21-1, but you need to understand, you know what was giving that coach you were working with the program? I was like, yeah, probably you. Then he said, yeah, it was me. So now I need you to do me a favor. Please decommit to Clark County and trust me. I look at him, I'm like, okay. So I reached out to Clark County to say I ran 21-1. And I realized that 21-1 in JUCO back in those days, I could actually make a final at nationals and probably place 3rd or 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's like, yeah, I understand, but the only way we can give you a scholarship is if you apply for a federal scholarship. I'm like, federal scholarship? Then I'm like, then I told the coach, the honest, like, yeah, I don't think I'd be interested in that because I thought you were going to give me a full scholarship if I ran well. But yeah, but later on I found out that they only give scholarships to ladies. They don't give it. They don't have. So I was just like, it was now a no-brainer. I was just like, okay. Then I went back and I told him, and I was like, you see, I told you, you could have trusted me from the get-go. Now look at you. Then he's like, well, anyways, then I had made like the world relays cut for running for Zimbabwe. So the world relays were in Poland. That was during COVID. So I was supposed to go as an alternate, but then I had one of the guys who was supposed to be on the relay was in England. Okay. And he was restricted with COVID, so he couldn't travel from England to Poland. So now the thing I was left was I had to run the relay because we're now 4. We're supposed to be 5, but now we're 4. And now I have no option but to put another relay. So I ended up running the relay. And so the day before, I went to do my visa applications in South Africa. So we don't have a Polish embassy in Zimbabwe. So we had to go to South Africa to do our applications.
Okay.
The guy who was my mentor, Brian Zinga, then reached out to me and he said, look, I talked to the Carson Newman coach. You guys are going to get on a Zoom call and you guys are going to do a Zoom meeting. You're going to hear what he says. If you like it, then you're going to go there. If you don't like it, just let me know. Then I'm like, okay, cool. We get on the Zoom call. This dude tells me all the opportunities that are there. I was like, I want to go there. I want to go there. Then I went back to my mom and I'm like, Mom, I want to go to Carson Newman, but if
you made your decision.
I was like, but it's a neutral school. So I don't know what I can do because I feel like this time can still take me to a low D1 school. And it's like, look, son, I prayed. God told me that you need to go to Carson Newman, so you're going to go to Carson Newman. And I was like, you know what? I'll just go.
Oh my God.
So I ended up, I accepted the offer then. Now we're just waiting for the embassy to open. So while we're waiting for the embassy, I then went to Poland for the world relays. We got knocked out of the first round. Now, this is the interesting part. I was running back straight when the same meet with Italy. And this is my first international meet, by the way, a world meet, world relays. I see Marcel Jacobs on the back straight. I'm just an ordinary 19-year-old kid. I don't even know what to expect. I see Marcel Jacobs, I'm like, no way I'm running with this dude. The guys are like, just be good, just be good. And honestly, I was nervous. I was actually scared. I wasn't nervous, I was scared. Then
I thought you were starstruck, but that's fine.
I was still a kid. Like, I don't know anything. I was still a kid. Then I was like, you know what? I'll just do it. So the first leg came. I got the stick. I remember behind me was like a guy in Germany that I ran into the Olympics this year, the semi-final. I mean, I beat him this year, but he was on my inside. So I get the stick, and when I was ahead of Germany, that guy closed me down and he passed me from the inside. I'm like, yeah, it's really that bad. It's really that bad. Then I passed the stick. But I mean, I had the split I had, it was bad. But then for my age, I felt like that's all I could do. I split a 979 on the back straight, which was bad. Like, because now Shakari reaches and they must play 9-6s. So it's really bad.
Oh, wait. Was Tapi here?
No,
was
Tapi
he in that?
there. No, Tapi was in there. Those days, Tapi was in, like, I think he got injured, then he had a long break, then he was coming back. But I ran like 21-1, he had ran 21-4. So he wasn't there. Like, I was running with like pretty old guys.
Okay, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So
that makes sense.
So like we finished 8th, then I was like, okay, yeah. Now I have to go to social media and hear these Zimbabweans hammer me on social media. And I did get hammered. I was getting hammered on social media. They were like, why did you put this kid? So my dad works in the government. So they were like, you guys are using government corruption to put this kid in the team. ABC. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, damn, these people are really getting on my case. But I'm like, I mean, it is what it is. I don't really care, because at the end of the day, my future is going forward.
Yeah.
So like, I went back home. Then so by the time I got back home, the embassy was open. And then I was supposed to take SATs, but we didn't realize that SATs are closed. They don't really need them now because of COVID.
Yeah.
I just used my results to come to the US. So then I ended up like emailing the embassy. Then I got a date. I went to the embassy. I did my applications and everything. Then I got the date. Then I got my visa. Then I traveled to Castle Newman.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're done with Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Let's move over to the US.
Let's move on to the
Coming to Castle Newman, literally you swept everything.
Yeah.
Nationals, I mean, from school record, nationals. Bro, you at the roar. Okay, then.
So I get to Castle Newman. Yeah.
Okay.
I get to Castle Newman. So I got there in August. I spent the whole of September. Then tragedy hit in October. I'm working with my friends. I'm going to the gas station to buy food. My mom had been sick for a week. I get a phone call from my sister, and it's 12 a.m. at school. So it's literally midnight. I get a phone call. I answer the call. I hear my sister is crying. I'm like, what's going on? Like, why are you crying? I have 2 older sisters, and this is the oldest sister. So she's like, I'm sorry to tell you this, but mom is dead. I fainted I remember I fainted on the road, in the middle of the street. And then, tragedy hit. Then my friends had to lift me up, and they called like one of our friends in a car to come pick me up. They picked me up. They brought me back to the room, to the dorms. They took my phone. So I literally slept without a phone that whole night. And messages were coming in. Messages. And I couldn't even see anything because I was like, I don't have my phone. So I then woke up the next morning, sat in my room and just looked at the walls. And it was actually tragic. So now I'm looking at the walls. I'm like, now what? So my friend then ended up coming back with my phone. I got my phone. Then as I get my phone, the first person that called me was my mentor, the guy, Brian. Then he's like, hey, my condolences. I heard your mom's dead. Now we got to figure out how we can get home for that funeral. And the funeral was like, she was supposed to get buried 2 days later. So I picked up the phone. I'm like, then they figured out the flights. I went back home, did the funeral. Then after the funeral, now I'm sitting down. I called my second older sister because I couldn't, like, I didn't want my older sister, my older sister to take care of me because she has a kid. So like, I don't want to put burdens on her life because she already has a kid to take care of. So I called my second older sister because they are 3 years apart. And then me and my second older sister were like 8 years apart. So I was like, this is the best person I can talk to. So I called, I'm like, I don't think I want to go back to school. I might as well just do my college, my university in Zimbabwe, and I just stop this track thing. Then she's like, are you crazy? She was wearing glasses. She takes off her glasses. She's like, are you crazy? I was like, no, I'm not crazy. I feel like, I don't know. I don't have the support system. I don't know what I have to do. Then she's like, well, listen, your mom invested all this for you to go to school. So you can't just let this go just because she's dead. Like, this is literally supposed to be fueling you to go forward. I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think I can go because I don't have any support. She was like, well, listen, I'm going to support you from today until the day you choose to retire, until whatever happens, I'm going to be on your side. So you're going to pack your bags, and you're going to go back to school. Okay. Then I stayed home for like the next 2 weeks. Then after 2 weeks, I went back to school. Trust me, when I got back to school, I mean, I was good, but I was okay then when I got back to school, but the trauma was still there.
It won't be the same, bro.
It just wasn't the same. So like, I went back to school. Then my coach was like, introduced me to like the school counselor. So I was going for counseling like three, 4 times a week. So I was doing counseling like for 3, 4 times a week. Then so that was in November. So I did counseling in November, the whole of like December to Christmas. Then we brought for Christmas. I went to my auntie's place. My auntie was taking care of me the whole Christmas break. Went back to school in January. Then that's when the season started, my freshman year. That's when I was starting now my freshman season. And the trauma was still there. Then the head coach called me to his office and he's like, I understand you're going through a rough time, but I feel like just give it to God. So that's when I established my relationship with God also, because I was like, now I have to just leave everything to God. Then my sister was calling me every day and we were talking, but it wasn't the same. Yeah, it wasn't the same. So that whole freshman year indoor season, I ran the first meet, I ran 681. Then I was good the whole season. Like 681 was good until like nationals, until like the last week before qualifying for nationals. Suddenly people started running fast and they were taking 15 people. I was number 16. So I didn't go to nationals that whole indoor year. So trauma now hit. I'm like, I lost my mom. I didn't make nationals. What's going on? Then I went to my coach. I'm like, coach, I don't feel like I'm good enough to do this. Then he's like, listen, this is just indoor. Have you ever run indoor in your life? I'm like, no, I haven't run indoor my whole life. Then he's like, listen, this outdoor season, you've been running outdoor your whole entire life. I just need you to do me a favor. Just trust me and everything will go according to plan. Went back to outdoor season. I was just like, well, I actually sat down in my room and I looked at my walls again. I'm like, God, what's the plan? Something just told me in my head that the best way for you to get over this is just to dedicate everything to your mom. Just dedicate everything to her and everything is going to be fine. She's already watching over you. Ever since that day, I started just dedicating everything to her. Like, even if you check my name tag before meets, I always have like a name written behind my name tag. And when I win, I take it off, then I show it to the camera. Like even my profile picture on Instagram.
Yeah,
that was
I think I saw that in your NCAA finals when you took off.
Yeah.
And the tag.
Yeah. And the tag, behind the tag was my mom's name written. So like, I was just like, that's literally the only way I can feel the dream. You know, I remember the day I left Zimbabwe, she was like, see you in the Olympic final in 2024. And this was in 2021, by the way. This was in 2021. She's like, see you in the Olympic final 2024, which was crazy. So like, it was already planned. Like, she had already planned everything. And like, when I was in high school, every meet I'll go to, every track meet, every rugby game, everything, she would always travel. She would sacrifice everything. Like, she would drive some meets. Then when she didn't have a car, with her cars on the service, she would get on a public bus to come see me just go meet. So like, thank you. So like when I came to the US, that was literally my whole thing. I was like, oh yeah, when I make nationals, she's probably gonna fly from Zimbabwe to come see me run nationals. Come watch me run and compete. So that was literally my whole thing. And now she's not there, and I'm like, yeah, it's not gonna be the same. But then my coach took care of me. Like my coach was now also helping me on the mental side and everything. And yeah, my old coach is actually part of my mentors at today. I actually talk to him also when I'm like not mentally okay, or I'm scared, I'm nervous before I raise that. He's one of the people I actually go to. Until like today, until now, I can actually text him and he will reply me. So we get into outdoor season. I was just like, I'll leave everything to her. My PR was 21-1 and like 10-9. Then we started just working. Then I went to the first meet. We ran the 100. So the first time we ran, somebody false started. Then we called back, but we'd already run to 70 meters. So they're like, you guys can rest and run we're the first heat. So we ended up running last. Then the wind didn't behave and I ran like 10-7. Then I wasn't happy, obviously. Then I went to the 200. I basically tied my PR again. I ran 21-11. Then my coach was just like, well, that's what happened. Break after break. Let's just trust the process. And then it was also tragic because before that 100, we ran the 4x1 and we dropped the stick. So my coach was just like, let's just trust it. Then I just kept on trusting him. Then the next meet, we went back. That's when my breakthrough actually happened in college. I ran the 200 it was a 2-day meet. So 200 was the first day, then 100 was the next day, the 4x1. I ran the 200 and I ran 20.8. And 20.8, that day, I remember that period, 20.8 was like the second fastest in D2 because somebody had ran 20.79. I ran 20.80. So that's when I was like, okay, I guess my mom is now answering me. The God's now answering me and praise and everything is just going my way. I might as well just keep going. I went 20.8, then we ran the 4x1, we ran like 40.1. I think that also made that was the national qualifying mark. Then I ran 10.4. That was good enough. So I was like 5th in the 100. We're first in the 4x1 and I was 2nd in the 200. So I was like, okay, now we can start. Now we're talking great numbers now. We're talking good numbers. So now kept working. We go to conference. Conference, I swept everything. We swept every event. Every event that I stepped on, I swept everything.
Bro.
So now things are now working according to plan. And then Coach Ken was now texting my old coach. Is like, I see him. He just said, I see him. That was the text. I see him with exclamation marks. Then he just said, keep working. We'll get there. So I get to nationals now. Now we get to D2 nationals. My freshman year. I'm a freshman. I didn't know anything. I was scared because I was like, this is literally the biggest championships. Yes, I ran with my son Jacobs at World Relays, but I don't know what to expect. And we had people like Azamadi. Azamadi had gone to the Olympics the year before. So I'm like, top down.
From West Texas.
It was at West Texas, yes. So I was like, then I was just like, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. I get to nationals. Me and Azamadi just look at each other and we shake hands, and that was it. I don't know. I think you remembered me from World Relays because I remember just telling him good luck in the call because I was just like Zimbabwe, Ghana, we're African brothers, so.
Africans.
So like that was just the thing. So it was like I was just like, oh, good luck to you too, bro. Like stuff like that. Then he was in the heat before me. Then he full started. Like I'm like, damn, okay, let's see what happens. And I was in the next heat. I ran that heat. I ran like 10.3. That was a PR. 10.3. Then went back to the board. I was like, okay, now we're in the final, in the 100. The next day was the 200. 4x100 already made the final also because we ran like 39.7, which was fast back in those days too. So I ran 39.7. Next day I come back. This is now the 200 meters. I was so scared because I was in lane 3. And lane 3 is not, those inside lanes are not good when it comes to track because they're obviously not, they're tight, but they're not as good as the outside lanes.
Yeah.
So now I get into lane 3. The head coach calls me and he's like, Marka, I know you're nervous and I know this is your first time in the championship, but I'm about to trade this Bible verse. And please carry this Bible verse as you get in the field. I'm like, okay. Then he's like, Joshua, he told me about Joshua 1 verse 9, which says, have I not commanded you, be strong, for the Lord God with you will be with you wherever you go. I was like, okay, thank you, coach. I went in the race, trusted the verse, ran 20.4. Once I ran 20.4, things changed. Everything just completely changed with a blink of an eye. Now everybody knew me. Coaches were now looking at me differently. That's when I put my name on the map, indeed.
I trust that also changed your mentality.
Yes.
I mean, you've been talking about fear whenever you step out to run, you don't know what to expect and all of that. So after running that 24, I guess it had a switch.
Yeah, it had a switch because now I was number one in the prelims. Like going into the final, I was the favorite. Because Azamadi and them had run like 20.5, I think. Yeah. So now we get to the final. I'm seeing these guys. I'm like, okay, now I have to run with these guys. I ran the 100. We ran the 4x1 in the 100. We're third in both. And in the 200, like, I didn't have a good start. So I wasn't able to catch up with them. So I ended up finishing third. But I still ran 20.4. So I ran 20.4 twice at the championship. Then my coaches were like, okay, this is consistent. We can work on something from there. And then the guy who won, Brandon Miller, ended up transferring the next day. He announced the next day that he was going to Kentucky. Azamadi then signed pro. So now I was the returning favorite. Then we get into summer break. Summer break, I go back home. Then I hadn't met my mentor because my mentor stays in Chicago.
Okay.
He had flown back to Zimbabwe also. So we had a meeting in Zimbabwe. Like that was the first time I met him. I went to meet him at like one of the biggest malls in the country, and we had breakfast there. Then I was sitting there with him, and he's like, "Do you like Castle Newman?" I was like, "I love Castle Newman. I'd love to stay there my whole 4 years because I was now enjoying life in Castle Newman. Life was fun now."
And the relationship with the coach, of course.
And my relationship with the coach it was great. It was now great. So it's like, I understand that you enjoy Castle Newman and now you and the coach have a great bond. But
you need to move, bro.
I need to get to the point of saying goodbye to your coach. I can't lie. When you said that, I dropped a tear. I literally dropped a tear.
Oh my.
Like, why? He's like, what was the plan coming in? That's another.
Which can?
I have to go. We had to transfer. So he was like, so once you get back to school, you have to get on the portal. So now I'm dealing with the sorrow of leaving my old coach.
The emotion.
And now I have to also look for a way to tell him that, yo, I got to transfer, bro. But he knew the plan, though. So he wasn't really like, but just telling him that now it's time for me I want to get on the transfer portal is just weird. I was scared.
Yeah.
So I get back to school and I tell him that I get back to school. I'm like, coach, I have something to tell you. I don't know how you're going to react to this, but this is what's going to happen. Then I told him that, yeah, I had a meeting with this guy and he told me that I have to not get on the transfer portal and look for a new school. Then he's like,
it's time to go.
It's time to go. But I was like, but then I told him that, but I can still run the whole sophomore year for Castle Newman, but after my sophomore year, I have to leave. Then he was cool with it. Then he talked to the head coach, but the head coach was like, okay, I understand, but I feel like he has to come talk to me personally. So I ended up going to talk to the head coach. The head coach wasn't happy also. He was like, but we already had plans. Like we had planned to win nationals and everything, but now you want to leave. Then I was like, but I'm running my sophomore year. They was like, okay, I understand. It's okay. I'll talk to the lady at compliance and then you get on the portal. So I got on the portal. Then when I was on the portal, every D2 school you can think of, any top D2 school you can think of was reaching out to me. But then I'd already had a plan. Coach Ken didn't even reach out to me. Just reached out to me to give me my ticket. That's it. Because the plan was already there. So he just reached out to say, you're coming on this day. And you're coming on this day for a visit. And see you in Atlanta.
Excuse me, there's actually no need for all this here and there. I mean, he knows where you're headed. So it's like, okay, bro.
So he just sent me my tickets. I get to the airport, I get on the plane, I get to Atlanta. Now I'm on my visit. So like, as I was doing my visit, like, he wasn't pressing as much on recruiting me as he was the other guys. Because in that visit, I remember I had Isama Singer, I had this other kid named Kai. He was also like number one in the US in hurdles. Isam had just moved to Team 1 Vert, so he wasn't really like, he didn't run, but he ended up having a great year. So like,
yeah.
Now we get, I'm doing my visit and everything. Then we get to talk to the head coach. So the head coach was now telling the guys like their scholarships and stuff. I was like to Coach Ken, Coach, do I really need to go see him? He's like, you don't really need to, but you can go see him if you want to. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to go see him. That was my own thing. Then the head coach was just like, please, can I have a word or two with you? I get in his office. He's like, what are your chances of committing to Auburn? I said, 100%. That dude was so happy. Coach Burrell, he was so happy. He was happy. And then, yeah, the whole thing happened then. So I hadn't told my mentor that I wanted to go to Auburn, obviously, but he somehow knew because he was talking to Coach Ken. Then Coach Ken asked me after the visit, how did you like it? I was like, I enjoyed it. Then he's like, okay, cool.
Yep.
This was
it seems he doesn't talk too much.
He doesn't talk a lot. Then on Monday hits. I went back to school on Sunday. Monday, I spent the whole day. Tuesday, I just see an email, Ken London, scholarship papers. Then it's on the bottom of the email was like, please sign these papers. I opened the papers, I see the scholarship papers. I text my mentor, I'm like, Coach Ken just sent me scholarship papers. Should I sign these papers? Because I know we haven't talked about my decision or anything. He's like, well, go to Auburn. I've known Coach Ken for over 20 years. He's going to take care of you. So that was literally the reason, the decision I made to go to Auburn. So then I texted, I signed the papers, sent them back to him, and I texted him, I'm like, Coach, am I coming in January or what? He said, no, you're going to fulfill the plan we made when you moved into the US. Go finish your sophomore year, then I'll see you your junior year. So like my sophomore year now, I was like, expectations are high now. Now I have to take my career a notch.
Take it serious.
So now I went back to school, started working hard again. That fall, like 2 weeks after I came from Auburn, I had a stress fracture on my back. So now I was like, damn. Now I was pressuring myself. I'm saying I have to go to Auburn. It's a big school. Coach Ken is a great coach. And he obviously has high expectations on me because I'm the returning favorite. So then I text him, like, coach, I just read my bag. I don't know what to do. Then he's like, just trust your coach. I don't know how my coach, like literally, Coach Ken trusted my old coach, Coach Kieran. So he said, just trust him. He'll take care of you. I trusted him. We went back to school then. December, I didn't do a lot of full training. I did some training, but it wasn't like as intense as the other guys were doing. We get to January. I remember my first meet, I ran 6'7" and 21.3. And that put me like number 4 and 5 number 4 in the 60 and number 5 in the 200 in D2. So I was like, okay, we're heading in the right track. Then we just kept working. Then the next meet I ran 6'7'2". That was number 4 in D2. Then I ran 20.9. That was the fastest time at the time. So I was like, okay. Then Coach Ken reached out to say, I see you. He just said, I see you.
He's always seeing you.
I see you. That's literally how he texted. That was texting me when I was still in D2. I see you. And I was like, yeah, coach, we're working. Then I went to nationals. And then I was 7th in the 60. Then I won the 200 meters. So now like I ran 20.5. And at the time it was like number 15 in the world. That's when like everything started going up a notch. And I that's it. And also Tapi came in the US. And now I was now dealing with that. And Tapi also was coming in the US and he was running fast in Texas. So it was like me and him were going back and forth. So yeah.
Amazing. I mean, it's been a journey. It's been a journey.
It's been a crazy journey.
I was watching your interview with Voice of America.
Yes.
And you threw light on Zimbabwe coming to limelight.
Yes.
And you and Tapa, is it Tapa or Tapi?
No, Tapi.
Okay, you and Tapi happen to be the only college students who made it to the 200-meter finals at the Olympics this year, which is amazing. And shockingly, both of you are from Zimbabwe.
Yes.
So what did you do differently to make it that far? I mean, for a young man who never wanted to run track, and from rugby, you switched into running track, moved to urban, won the 4x1. Well, we'll come to that, but tell me what happened? What was the difference? What was the thing you did differently?
So when I was at Carson Newman, like our program was similar to Coach Ken's. So like my coach was Coach Ken's old athlete. Like he was basically doing evolving his program. His dad was also a coach, so he was like putting the two together and just putting it on us. Me adjusting to Coach Ken's program wasn't really hard. And then also when I left Carson Newman, I was on the world rankings for Budapest. I was like number 47, I think, when I moved into Auburn. I kicked off the world rankings the last day to like number 52. So they took 48 and I was number 52. So I didn't go. So so like me and Tapi were in communications at the time because a lot of people thought we had beef, but we didn't even have beef. Like Tapi's my friend. I don't hold anything against him. He's my friend. So we're in communication. Then we're like, yeah, we're going to Budapest. When he found out that I didn't make it, he was just like, okay, we'll see them in Paris. That was literally the whole conversation. We'll see them in Paris. So we're talking about this ever since last year in August.
Okay.
When he went to Budapest and he didn't make the first one, and I was just like, tough luck, bro. We'll see them in Paris next year. So every time, like, me and him, our conversation was just like, let's go.
We'll see them in Paris.
We'll see them in Paris. That was literally the whole thing. We'll see them in Paris. So like, we get to outdoor season. He then ran 19 at Texas Tech. I remember that week I was at LSU. I ran 2011, but mine was like plus 2.1, so I didn't make it. Then the following week we went to SECs. I ran 20 flat. Now we're both qualified, and now we're texting back and forth and like, we'll see them in Paris. That was literally the whole text. We'll see them in Paris. So like, we'll see them in Paris. So yeah, we've been talking about this ever since 2023.
So it became your reality. I guess that was like with the loss of your mom.
Yes.
My condolences, by the way.
Thank you.
And now the conversation between you and Tapi about seeing them in Paris. I think I would say that was the fuel behind all of this.
Yes.
Then now moving down to Auburn, you got the school record.
Yes.
In the 200 meters.
Yes.
When you got to Auburn, you know, like you said, Coach Ken is not one he's not one of so many words. When you got there, did it change? How was the relationship between you two? And how were you even able to manage the pressure? Because I know that Coach Ken, being one who has trained a lot of athletes, world-class athletes who have even turned out to be coaches. Like you mentioned, that the one at Castle Newman was trained by Coach Ken.
Yes.
How were you able to hang in? How was your relationship with him? And how did he now affect you mentally and athletically, coming out as a world-class athlete that you are now?
So when I moved in, right, I was looking at the team and I'm like, okay, there's Faith Ash here. And we all know Faith Ash is a top dog. I'm looking at it. So my roommate, Dario, he was in D2 with me and we had moved in. So like, he got on the transfer portal before nationals. And we all thought he was going to go to Houston, but he suddenly just changed his commitment and said he was coming to Auburn. So now me and him were going into the same, and he's from South Africa. So I'd known him way before he even came to the US, because when I went to South Africa on camp, I was in the same training group. Okay. So like our relationship was really good. So we moved in together, and then like every day in the room we just talked like, bro, we're here. We got these we got this guy favorite. This guy favorite is like a top dog. So now we have to work to get to the level he's at. I'm not saying it's not possible, but we have to work hard. I went to Coach Ken and I was like, Coach Ken, I'm seeing this 200 meter record is 19. Do you think it's possible for me to run 19? Like, I actually asked him, do you think it's possible? He said, Maka, I brought you in here for a reason. I believe you can do well in my system. Remember 2 years ago, you were in Zimbabwe and we made a plan for you to come to the US. So now just trust me and you're going to see what's going to happen. Then I was like, okay. So I just kept working. Like I just put my head down and I just kept working. I can't lie. The first couple weeks I was getting my tail kicked by almost everyone on the team. But then I just kept on working with my head down and I'm like, let's see what happens. So I kept my head down. Then we get to indoor season, my first meet. I tied my PR in the 60, then I won the 300 meters. It was like a draw meet between Auburn and Alabama. Then we went back to the drawing board. We go to Arkansas. Now this is the big meet. You're running against the big schools like Florida, big schools like Kentucky, big schools like Arkansas, and then. And I remember I was in the fastest heat. I was in lane 6, so I was literally a chicken being chased because I was on the outside. I remember I ran 20.5. I tied my PR, but I stepped on the line and I got DQ'd, and that drained me mentally. I'm like, I look at Coach and I'm like, Coach, I just got DQ'd, and I don't think.
And that was early this year, right?
That was in January, yeah.
I think I was in that meet. I think I was there because Butler apparently liked to go to.
Yes, I think you guys were there. Yeah, I think I remember seeing you. Yeah, I think I remember. Yeah, I think I remember.
I think I was there. Okay.
So yeah, I ran 20.5, then I got DQ'd, and Coach Ken was like, "We'll see the next meet." Then the next couple meets, I didn't run well because that whole thing was in my head. Like I got DQ'd, so I don't know if I'm still good enough. So I started running 20.7s, and I didn't make nationals. So when I didn't make nationals, like I went back to Coach Ken. I'm like, Coach, we didn't make nationals, Coach. So what's the next thing? He's like, well, listen, I don't really care about indoors until we have indoor Olympics. The goal is Olympics. We're not even looking at you making indoor nationals and going to Boston and running well. Me, I want you to run well in June in Oregon and in August in Paris. So let's put our project to Paris. So like I just kept on working. Then when I was so loaded that we went to FS and I still had the volume of training. Like my body was too sore from training. We went to FSU. I ran 20.2. That was my first season opener. I ran 20.23. And I think that was like the second fastest time in the world that time. Second or third. And then now Coach Ken calls me to the side and he said, so now you ran 20.23, which is your PR. You jumped from 20.6 in minus 2.4 to 20.2. What you're basically telling me now is, even with the load that I have in my body, I can still run at 20.2, which means we're on the right track. So just keep trusting me and we're going to do damage when it matters. Okay, Coach. Okay.
Yeah.
So then that week after FSU, another tragic thing happened. I got a fever. Then I was out for almost 3-4 meets. So I wasn't competing and I wasn't practicing with the team. So I didn't even practice or compete. Those were all 4 weeks. And now I was now questioning in my head, like, am I going to be okay? So like when I was sick, Coach Ken bought me medication. So I was getting the medication and I was like, everything is going to be okay. We're going to run 19. I'm looking at him like, Coach, I'm sick. and you tell me I'm gonna run 19. Like, where is this coming from? So I feel like coach can believe me from the day I moved into campus that I could do it.
Yeah.
Then it's like, then I was like, okay, kept on taking my medications. Then I got good after 4 weeks. Then I got back to practice. And that week, I remember going to LSU for a track meet. He said, you're running this meet. You went around the 100 and the 200. I believe you can run fast. I've coached people like Walter Dix. Walter Dix didn't even run the whole indoor season when he was at Florida State, but he was able to come back and win the national championship. So I believe you can do it. And just trust me, because I've been there. I know everything. There's nothing you can tell me right now that I don't know. You got it, coach. You got it.
Wow.
So then I went to LSU. Then I ran 2011. I ran 2011 in 10.16. Then it's like, okay, you were sick. So when you go to SECs, you're not going to run the 100. That was my last 100 race. And I think that was like in beginning of May. So I've never done ever since that meet until now. So I was like, we just focus on the 200 because I ran 2011 and that was like plus 2.3. So it was just like a no-brainer that I had to drop the 100 and focus on the 2. So now we started focusing on the 2 and I didn't run the 4x1 that meet. So we're just focusing on the 200. We get to SECs. Day 1, I went to SEC and I went 20.17 legal. That was now my legal PR. And I was number 1 going into the final. So Coach Ken was like, you see, I told you if you trust me, this is what's going to happen. You see? Then I was like, okay, coach. We get to the final. We ran the final. I ran 20 flat. Made the Olympics. So I thought Coach Ken was going to be mad because I finished 3rd. But when I got to him, he was like, now we're talking. Now we're talking. Now you're about to put yourself in the list. Now we're talking. Then I was like, God is great. God is great, coach. So now we get back. Then he's like, now we're talking. Then he was so happy. I was excited also that I had made Olympics.
Yeah.
My friends were excited. Tapi was excited. All my friends in the SEC.
Wow.
So like we're all happy. Then we get to regionals. Now we're at regionals. Day 1, I ran the same time. I wasn't happy because I was like, why am I not moving up? Like, why am I not moving up? Like, I ran this time last week at SECs in the prelims. Now, why am I running the same thing in the prelims here? Coach Ken calls me and he's like, Marco, listen, it's a process. Sometimes you're gonna get stuck on the same gauge. Then the next thing you're gonna jump, or you're just gonna suddenly jump. But just trust me, please trust me. Like he actually said, please. He pleaded for me to trust him. I was like, okay, I'll trust you, coach. We get to day 2, 4x1, we ran and made nationals. Then now I'm supposed to now try and make nationals for the 200. I mean, it was a no-brainer that I was gonna make it. But now I was just stressing because I was like, I really need to go to nationals. This is my first time in D1. Expectations are high on me because I was 3rd at SEC. So people really like the coaches expect me to go to nationals regardless. I can't mess up. So now I get to the line, 19.95 school record. That's when I was like, okay, what's going on here now? I ran a sub 20. And the crazy thing is, 4 weeks ago, I was looking at this Tapi guy who ran 19.
And he was like, can you do this?
I was like, can I do this? That's what
and now you're doing it.
Now I'm doing it. I was like, okay, we're on the right track. Then now Coach Ken was like, you're actually insane because all the athletes I've coached in their first years, none of them has ever run 19 on their first season with me. So this is actually phenomenal. Let's go to work. You just said, let's go to work. Okay, coach, I got you. Then that's how the whole season turned out. Then now we had nationals. Now I know I made nationals. So now I was happy. I was just happy to be at nationals.
I saw all the videos from the 4x1, the 200 meters. Yeah, I know it was here and there.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, making it to the Olympics, this young guy from stealing sugar, going back and forth with playing rugby, finally accepted to do track, went to the NAIAs, moved to the NCAAs, met with the big dogs, made it down to the Olympics, top 8 in the world.
Yeah.
What can't you do, Maka? What can't you do?
I really don't know.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, it's all God's grace.
This has been one, oh my God. In this one particular episode, I felt joy, I felt sad, I felt inspired, and I'm happy you accepted to come around to share your story. Although we are way behind, we've gone past the time, but that's fine. It's worth it. It's really worth it. It's worth it. And like I always say, the pride of Zimbabwe, your country must be proud of you.
Yes.
Look at how far you've come. And your mom too must be really proud of you wherever she is right now.
Yep.
So just keep doing what you're doing. But before we go, I want to ask, what word would you say to young athletes back in Zimbabwe, those who has sweet tooths like yourself, stealing sugar and running, and probably trying to figure out, is it track, rugby, or, can I make it to the US? Can I be on the plane? And I would have asked you, I would love to have you back into the studio. Probably that will be by the end of the season. But
I'm fine with that.
How you managed this whole mental thing and what you would say to inspire those who are watching you.
So should I start with like the young athletes?
Whichever one.
So for the young athletes, I'll just say keep trusting God, and it's a process. It's not like it happens overnight. So try anything you can do. Like if somebody believes in you or says you should try this, go ahead and do it. Don't be doubting yourself. Just keep going. There are no limits in this world. Like there are literally no limits. And what I'll also say is be confident and have faith in yourself. I mean, God brought you on this planet for a reason, so keep trusting yourself. And then for parents, for the parents, I'll say, please just let the kid do what he wants. You never know what the kid's talented at. There are so many opportunities in this world, and I feel like nothing is impossible. Yes. That's what
nothing is impossible.
Parents also need to support their kids. I feel like parents, you guys need to support your kids also.
Well, your mom supported you. I mean, she's a huge part of your story.
Yes.
She's a huge part of your story. Okay. It's been a long one, but a long, interesting and inspiring one. And I want to say thank you. And to my beautiful viewers, thank you for watching. I hope this episode has not only inspired you, but has pushed you. If there's anything somebody's telling you, you are good at this, why don't you give it a try? Start giving it a try, because who knows, that might just be the breakout.
Yes.
And in case you're going around stealing sugar, please don't steal the one that will end your life. Okay, Maka, thank you so very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Star Mpama.
And until we meet again, I still remain your host, Star Mpama. Be good, stay safe, and bye for now.